Good afternoon, everyone, and I'll say good afternoon from New York City since we have quite a substantial spiritual community tuning in from Hawaii, California, across the very different countries. And so I want to say aloha from New York City. I would like to express my deepest appreciation to Planet Heart and its co-organizers for this invitation to participate in the 16th annual World Peace Day celebration. And it is really a joy to be here among friends at the Church of the Village, a very spiritual community known for its diversity and inclusivity, and whose organizational values are in line with the foundational spiritual understanding that all human beings are equal and blessed in the eyes of our Creator. I was born and raised in Hawaii, where important events and gatherings are customarily opened with a blessing or a puli. And I would like to open my presentation with a Hawaiian invocation, which is captured in the misty rain of the Nu'uanupali in the Ko'olau mountain range on the island of Oahu. This blessing acknowledges the great source of life itself, which gives us the power, knowledge, and wisdom that we call upon in our convening today. The indigenous Hawaiian spiritual principles of wisdom, humility, integrity, honesty, respect, and love can help guide us to the goals stated in the theme of this gathering, awakening humanity's consciousness for a better planet while honoring the heart of Earth Mother, all within our hearts. May we please play this blessing.
O ginui galanie ginio ke aqua mano ke aqua iluna ke aqua ilalo ke aqua iuga ke aqua ikai mai na kukulu o ka hiki a hiki hawa inui a ke hawa inui kua uli hawa ikai kino kala pi imai I ha e ha o mala ela e kalania ike a ke a o he a o ka mala malama ho mai kalamo ka ike ka mau popo ke a ka mai. O mai ka ika hele ana, ka noho ana, ka hana ana. O maluhia ke ola ana, ka imi ana, ka nawe ana I ke ola pono. I pono mauna kule ana pau. Mai na wele launa kua lono na kua hivi na kua mauna. Mai kaulana ka lai le hua ho I papahana o moku a kea. He kai a kea nalu nui a kea, moana nui a kea, wa I kea ho I kea la nui o ka I ini ka nuu e kulia mauai. O hali a ku nei leo I ka makani nui, ka makani ki, ka makani hea au mākua, nā kia I o ka pō me ke ao. No kana au wao, kana au haa, kana au pono, kana au mae, kana au aloha, ke aloho nā kupuna. No luna pau mai ka mana nui e aloha ku, e aloha mai, e aloha nui hoi e ola hoi nā mea pau. Lele I mauli ola, lele wale aku
This event focuses on 7 sacred points of light and life: earth consciousness, spiritual healing, forgiveness, gratitude, sustainability, community, and peace building. Each one of these points represent an important spiritual value that must be manifested in our lives in order to change the trajectory of climate change and protect and restore the health of our beautiful shared, and only home. I will focus today on growing our Earth consciousness and regenerating the vitality of our planet by honoring these sacred values. I want to give a very quick synopsis on how Earth Day even came about. For all around the world, we are celebrating this special event. In 1969, an offshore well spilled over 3 million gallons of oil in the Pacific Ocean off Santa Barbara, sparking protests and demonstrations. At that time, Senator Gaylord Nelson of Wisconsin viewed the damage and conceived of an idea for a national teach-in on the environment to build awareness and promote environmental action in Washington, D.C. The teach-ins evolved into Earth Day, engaging students and activists across the country, and the national environmental outcry created political momentum that resulted in the establishment of the Environmental Protection Agency. Subsequently, the National Environmental Policy Act and the Clean Water Act were passed by Congress, and we must be very grateful for these achievements and ongoing efforts. Since the founding of Earth Day 54 years ago, the human population has grown from 3.7 billion to over 8 billion people, and this places tremendous strain on our natural resources. An unchecked development driven by the race to feed the demand for minerals and other resources is damaging the environment at a rate that far outpasses the capacity of the earth to heal itself. Human activities are responsible for global warming, climate change, weather anomalies, and environmental catastrophes that directly or indirectly are resulting in the loss of lives, lands, health, and well-being. Now, I want to share a little bit about the Lahaina forests on the island of Maui in Hawaii, because it garnered worldwide attention as a devastating wildfire swept through the town of Lahaina. And many of you may have been to Lahaina, and it destroyed over 3,000 homes and historical landmarks, and taking the lives of more than 100 people. While the town is still struggling to recover from the disaster, there is poignant evidence of nature's powerful regenerative capacity. The historic, badly burned tree, its branches and leaves were blackened, and the tree was feared dead. It's a beautiful, historic banyan tree. But a Maui County arborist has said, every single day, when the sun comes up, the tree expands, and at night, it contracts. You can actually see this expansion and contraction on digital readouts. It's like a heartbeat. New leaves and shoots, and the return of birds in the tree's budding canopy have raised the hopes of the community, many of whom are still homeless and unemployed due to the fire. Parts of the tree are damaged and will not recover, but it is alive. And its struggle to regenerate amidst such utter devastation is testimony to nature's remarkable resilience. Like the banyan tree in Lahaina, in the wake of disasters such as fires, floods, hurricanes around the world, native flora and fauna are re-establishing themselves, demonstrating the enduring regenerative power of Mother Nature healing herself. Human life and health and well-being of communities depend on the health of our natural habitats and their ability to recover. But the growing frequency and intensity of wildfires, floods, storms, droughts, shoreline erosion, and other climate emergencies is surpassing nature's ability to heal itself. And this regenerative capacity, this aspect of wanting to live, wanting to be renewed, is found not only in that banyan tree in Lahaina, but in all of life itself, within you, within me, within the sacred given life, to all of life, and we are all in this together. The dire consequences that have been experienced in many places around the world, where precious natural resources, including lands, forests, the air, and water resources, have been altered, appropriated, and abused in the name of progress in the pursuit of profits. However, regardless of all of these things that speak to the dark side of human nature, we must always remember that in the gift of sacred, immortal, eternal life, which we have all been blessed to receive, is that regenerative capacity that speaks to life wanting to live. So each of us has that capacity, and there is so much hope through you and myself, and with the beautiful opening drumming of the indigenous people in whose land New York City has sprung about. We recognize that the indigenous peoples have a high degree of earth consciousness, caring for the land according to wisdom based on generations of respectful interaction with nature, steeped in cultural and spiritual traditions that honor the oneness of life and regard for the natural world as family and sacred. The culture and spiritual traditions of the indigenous peoples around the world have endured for thousands of years, far longer than the few centuries since the colonialists usurped their culture and heritage. Their relationship with the natural world is characterized by a deep sense of responsibility, spirituality, and interconnectedness, emphasizing the need to protect and preserve the environment for future generations. Life is sacred for them and for all of us. The planet is Mother Earth, who must be honored, respected, and loved. And the elements of land, sea, and air are family. Spiritual healing from the indigenous perspective is therefore as much about the natural world as it is about the human habitants, all intimately interconnected. So changing the trajectory of climate change will require global commitments by governments, corporations, by each and every one of us, by how we are living our lives. And we must be inspired by the founders of Earth Day. It is our duty to educate ourselves, be creative, use our voices, create partnerships, and find a better way. Transformation starts within our own hearts with a commitment to honor the planet as a beloved part and of the totality of the divine. Our individual choices and our values contribute to the larger environmental picture, and we must work together to drive systemic change, influence policies, and promote sustainable practices on a global scale. There's a beautiful childhood poem written by a famous American poet that I love and loved throughout my whole life. And I want to share my favorite poem by Robert Frost called Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep. But I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Yes, earthly life is very short, and we, each of us, have miles to go, while we have the privilege to have this opportunity here and now in this lifetime to do the best we can to keep raising awareness and advocating for the preservation and restoration of our Mother Earth, because her health and well-being is critical to our health and well-being. You know, we may never live to see the fruits of our work, but in our hearts, we must know that if we have done our best in selfless service to humanity, then offer any fruits that may be born out of your service into the loving hands of God. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today and supporting Planet Heart in this annual event. And it has been my privilege to be with each and every one of you. Aloha nui loa.